Hi everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we're going to put the engine back on the Ferguson and get all the bits and pieces all put back on it, and we can get her fired up and see how she's going to run. Let's get to work. Here we are. We're going to pump up the crane now and we'll get this engine mated back to the tractor. Got the engine back in, everything's torqued down. We're going to go ahead now and get this side of the engine all dressed back up with all its stuff. This side's all dressed. Now we're going to start on this side. Air pipe, exhaust, carburetor, governor, generator, and then we can put the, not really suspension, we can put the axle and the wheels back on it. Okay, this is the last thing on this side. We've got our air cleaner cup filled up with nice fresh oil. There, you can put it up. There we go. Now this old clamp, there we go. Come on. Has seen better days, but it still works for now. I think it's supposed to have a square nut in there. It's got a hex nut. Doesn't do it very well. Oh no, this had a major blowout. Okay, this has to come off. So I found a square nut that I put in there instead of the hex nut, and I just I put a washer on there to keep this from getting pulled through. So hopefully this will work. And we can get a little bit more life out of this part. Let's see. Did it wrong again. I think it's got to go up and then come down. Bear with me here. Yeah. There we go. Okay. That was my head. Now, last thing we got to put on is the fuel tank, the battery, the gas line, and then we can start putting our axle in. That's it. Both sides, the top and the front, are all put back together. Now we can go ahead and put this axle bolster on. Oh, this is a big, heavy piece of metal. There we go. Can't wait to see it back on his feet again. This is a lot more robust than what you find in the front of a Ford. The Ferguson is much, much better if you're going to be putting a loader on it. The Ford has just all 6 little 7/16 bolts, and 4 of them are into the oil pan. Ferguson has got 4 5/8 bolts through the engine block and 2 little 7/16 bolts all the way down the bottom there. My opinion, for what it's worth, much better for loader work. So we're getting the axle in. These didn't come with this piece back here originally, but it's something that they came up with later. I think on the 8N, and then it works on all the other ones. I'm not sure what it does, but all the later tractors have it. So we'll put one in. Yeah, send it up. There we go. Now we can put in our bolt. So we're getting our axle knees back on. Once I got these 4 bolts tight, we'll put the radius rods and the footboards and everything back on. So we're going to put our radius rod back on now. Not much to it. Drop a big bolt down it. Getting these out of an old wreck is sometimes a lot of fun. And the ball goes in the socket and our foot peg holds it on. This one seems to have a little spring to it. But that's okay. There we go. And it's not going anywhere. Alright, now we can put our step plate back. Pretty simple. It just sits on the foot peg and hangs off this bolt. Not much to it. Very little holding them on. But they don't go anywhere. These are the nice Massey 35 ones. We've got all this stuff buttoned up now on both sides. The drag links, radius rods. That's all good. Now we can put the wheels on. Oh, goody. Well, our brand new radiator from the land of almost fits is a total strikeout. The outlet of it is about that much too tall, so you can't put the fan shroud on and it actually hits the fan. It needs to be down there like that. So anyway, yes, I desoldered it and got it out. And we're going to have a go at shortening it up, I guess. This I can't send it back. I bought it off a guy on eBay that ain't on eBay anymore, blah, blah, blah. So all we can do is try our best to make it work. And if not, it's 20 pounds of special scrap. That's how she rolls. So there's where the outlet needs to be. So we have to shorten this thing about, I'd say, 1 inch. And solder it back on. Are my soldering skills up to par to do that? Probably not. But like I said, I have no alternative but to try. I got the fan shroud where it's supposed to be, and that to the bottom of the radiator. That's good. This will be okay. It'll be in the right place. Now I shortened this thing about 1 inch, and I should be okay to get that in there. And then once I heat this up and get it in there, I might just grab a big adjustable and try to give it a little bit of just a twist that way, if at all possible. And we should be okay to use this rad. So what I got to do first is I have to solder this all up, and then we can do what we can do to try and get it back in there. Okay, we're going to use MAP gas. This is brass. It shouldn't be too much different than soldering pipes in the house, albeit a little bigger. So let's see what happens. I'm no professional when it comes to this. I'm not a plumber. But let's see what happens. I just want to get it soldered enough that I can get this hose clamp off. Solder costs money. That's nice. Well, here's our ugly Frankenstein soldering job, but I think it's okay. Hopefully it won't leak. Only one way to find out. Now we're going to get this dropped down in there and see if we can get it attached. We got our lower outlet on, and I even filled it up with water, and amazing, it doesn't leak. But now the next problem, we have to deal with the upper outlet, because it seems to be, well, not exactly on kilter. It's this way too far, and it doesn't aim down enough. But we can fix that. Well, that was a lot of battling. But we've got the rad kind of rejigged. I've got the shroud actually screwed to it now. So we're going to try and put it on the tractor and make sure it doesn't hit the fan or anything. We got this. We pulled it down and clocked it around a little bit and resoldered it. I've checked for leaks. I don't seem to see anything leaking. So fingers crossed, it'll be okay. I filled up the cooling system with water, and we're just going to let it sit for a little while and make sure nothing ends up on the floor, because I still can't believe that I did all that work to this radiator and it doesn't leak. My success rate with radiators is pretty dismal. So once we're okay with that, we will next try and get the thing running. I have to put some oil in it. And then we'll let it warm up and get pressurized, and we'll see then if it leaks or not. And once we're satisfied with it, then we've got a little bit more work to do to make it fit kind of more properly. The fan hits the bottom of the shroud, so I had to lay the radiator back to try and alleviate that a little bit. So I would like to stand it back up, so I'll have to reposition the shroud a little bit lower, and it'll need a longer top hose. That's a dog's breakfast, that one. And we'll see where we end up from there. We're almost ready to crank the old Ferguson up, but first we have to put some oil in it. That'd be a really good idea. The oil in these things goes in right here, and they tell you, this is pretty cool. Recommended oils: Enter Oil, Duckrams, Mobil Oil, Shell, Castrol, and Esso. And I guess you leave a blank. I think I'm going to write Motomaster in there with a Sharpie. Anyway, I think back in the old days, they probably would have recommended just straight 30 for these. I like to use this T4 Rotella 1540. It's good oil. I've never had a problem with it. You can usually get it on sale somewhere. I don't buy it in these. I buy it in a 20-liter pail, and I decant it into these. Did I put the drain plug back in? Only kidding. I think we got enough oil in here now. Yeah, that's pretty good. This is your safe range here, so we did change the filter, so this will go down after we start it, but I think we're in good shape for now. We'll go ahead and crank it up. Yeah. Okie dokie, let's see what happens. Went out for a nice test drive. We've got to get it warmed up now. This is a great engine. Hot idle, we've got 20 pounds of oil pressure, and it goes up to, at wide open throttle, even when it's hot, it sits around 50. That's good. can see there, temperature gauge just sitting around, I don't know, 150, 155. That's good. Now I'm going to shut it off and we'll see if anything leaks. We had it out for a spin and got it nice and warmed up, and then brought it back in here and let it cool off. And I'm happy to report that after I came back out, no antifreeze on the ground. Well, water, it doesn't have antifreeze in it at the moment. No oil on the ground. It's all good. So now I'm just going to check the oil level. I've already drained the water out of the cooling system, and we'll fill that back up with antifreeze. Yeah, perfect. Halfway in the safe zone. So we're good there. Now we can go ahead and put our coolant in. Okay, coolant is in. 2 gallons of 50/50, and it filled it right up. Everything's good now. We can go ahead and put the hood on. So we're all good. The hood's back on. The lights are back working. Everything is ship shape. I'm going to take it out now and give it a little spin around the yard and make sure we're all good. And then we're going to bring it back in and start working on the rest of it. We got to do a brake job on the back. I want to get the calcium chloride out of these tires because I don't really need it for what I do. And a few other little things we're going to do and give it just kind of a general servicing. But that big job with the leaks, done. Anyway, I guess I'll see you next time. And until then, thanks for tuning in. And this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. So long.